What are boundaries? So, boundaries are a line, a fence. Like if you think of your yard, if you have a fenced in yard, inside the fence is your property, and outside the fence is your neighbor's property. It's kind of like that with a boundary. Like, this is like at the line, my boundary would be this is what I will allow, this is what I will do, this is what I can do for you. And beyond that line, this is what I will not allow, this is what I won't be able to do for you, and this is what I cannot do for you. See the difference? So it's really important to set boundaries because, like I talked about in a previous video, the dark side of people pleasing, right? People pleasers struggle to set boundaries. Like, they just don't, right? I didn't. So, I was in therapy and I had this situation going on in my life. So the situation was I had three little kids, and I had a friend that had a couple of little kids, and she would ask me to babysit. Moms, share babysitting, although she didn't really babysit much for me. It was a little lopsided. I was babysitting a lot. But what began to happen is it began to become like 3 days a week. She'd have a doctor appointment or an emergency, or she needed to go somewhere and she needed me to keep her children. And for the most part, I liked it. My kids were there. They loved her kids and they played and it was great. But it started to inch more and more and more. And she was asking for more and more and more. For example, one day she called and said, I have a doctor's appointment at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Do you think you can keep the kids? I said, sure. So 4 o'clock comes around, 4 in the afternoon. This is 6 hours. And I'm like, oh my God, I hope she's okay. My God, she went to the doctor. Like, I don't know. I hope she's all right. We didn't have cell phones then, so couldn't check. So it kept getting later and later. And when she walked in with a bunch of shopping bags, I was like, what happened? Are you okay? She said, oh, after the doctor, I decided to go shopping. And I'm like thinking in my head, so I'm here with 5 kids, 6 hours. I'm tired. I'm losing it. And you've been shopping. Really? Really? I didn't say any of this. This was all going on inside of me, that dark side, right? That resentment and anger was starting to build, right? And to her, I was just like, okay, well, I'll see you later. She didn't know anything. So my therapist was like, yeah, you need to set a boundary. I'm like, okay. Because I was telling my therapist, I do not want this. I am angry. I am, scared that she's going to call and I'm going to say yes and I'm going to have to deal with this. So I called my friend and I said, hey, I just wanted to talk to you about some things. I feel like I love watching your kids. I love your kids, but it's getting to be a little much with my own kids. So, you know, for example, if you call and you have a doctor appointment, can you come home right after the doctor appointment? Unless you ask me, do you mind if I go shopping for 4 or 5 hours? I'll give you my answer. She lost her mind. She lost her mind. Started yelling, cussing, acting like, I'm never going to let you watch my kids again. You'll never watch my kids again. It was the weirdest. It was the weirdest reaction. And I was really upset because I was like, I hate confrontation for one, especially hated it when I was a people pleaser. And I wasn't used to, friends reacting this way to me. And so it was a real struggle. It was really hard. And I realized over the years that sometimes when you're a people pleaser and you do a lot of things for people and you don't, ask for things yourself, you attract people that are takers. Okay. I'm not going to call them narcissists because I feel like narcissist, the word is thrown around so much. And to get a diagnosis of that is pretty, it, you just can't diagnose that very easily. Like, there's a lot of criteria for an actual narcissist. So I'm not going to say narcissists. I'm going to say takers. Okay. People that like to take advantage, people that like to take way more than they give, people who can be manipulative. Okay. So that's another dark side of being a people pleaser is that people are attracted to you because you are a people pleaser that are this way. They're takers, they're manipulators. Okay. So once I set the boundary, it was a terrible situation to go through, but I continued to set boundaries. And then it felt like my life was my own. Like I was the master of my life. It wasn't, where in the past it was everybody else was in charge of my life and what I was doing. I allowed them that opportunity, right? But now that I was setting boundaries, I was in charge of my life and it felt so good. And then I started attracting people who gave a little more and we could give to each other. People who, I could babysit their kids, they could babysit mine. It was kind of a reciprocal relationship rather than I'll give and I'll take. Okay. I hope that helps you.